Church, how is my beautiful church family today? You look better than you sound. How is my beautiful church family today? You know, we live in a very conditional world. This world is very conditional. You have to do or give something in order to receive anything. The primary place that we experience unconditionality is with God. You see, with God, God gives us everything without us being able to earn it. There's no way that we can get anything from God by earning it, and God doesn't require us to do anything. And one of the greatest examples on this earth of that type of unconditional love is parenting. Parents give their children unconditional love, which is probably one of the few examples of unconditional love in this world. When you have a baby, that baby can't do anything for you. When you have that baby, you take care of that baby, and most of the time, the only thing you get back is a loaded diaper. Am I correct? A loaded diaper, and sometimes you keep getting loaded diapers throughout your whole life. Is that correct? That's the only thing that our kids can give us most of the time as parents. But the mom's love seems to be particularly unconditional. Moms are particularly unconditional. Moms seem to sacrifice themselves so much more for their children. I heard a story about a kid who got upset with his mom, and he snapped, and he went into the kitchen and grabbed a knife, and he started to stab his mom. He stabbed her, and he stabbed her, and he stabbed her, and he stabbed her. And while he was stabbing her, his mom stopped him and said, "Baby, baby, watch out so you don't cut yourself." That is the greatest demonstration of unconditional love, a mom's love. When moms are getting beat up by their children, moms are getting abused by their children, most of the time you're going to see moms have the courage to hang in there. And I've never seen that type of forgive them for they know not what they do kind of love other than in moms. Moms are the greatest testimony of unconditional love in this world. And with Jesus, we honor Jesus by making our lives a living testimony, and we make a public testimony through baptism to honor Jesus and to express our appreciation for the unconditional love that we receive. But how do we honor our moms? In the past, what we've done as a church is we've had a delicious lunch. Well, I don't have a delicious lunch today. In the past, we've had very beautiful decorations. I don't have beautiful decorations. What I do have is your children. I've already spoken to you young people, and I want to invite you to come up at this point. And I want the young people that I've spoken to, and if I missed you, because I have called a couple of you and I didn't get you this week, but I want to bring up the young people, and I want to give them an opportunity to express their appreciation to their moms for that unconditional love that they've received throughout their life. It's very difficult to be a mom, and in many cases, moms are being single moms and they don't actually have the help of the father just because of the way sin has broken down our life these days. A lot of moms find themselves in a situation where they're raising their children alone, and that process is tough. And I want to leave this open for anyone whose mom is actually here. You don't have to be, I didn't have to talk to you previously in order for you to come up. If your mom is here, this would be an opportunity for you to express to them how much you appreciate everything that they've done for you throughout their lives. I want you moms to know today that your children appreciate you, that your children love you. And there are a few that have been too shy to actually come up and say anything. I talked to a couple of kids that were just like, I just can't do that whole public speaking thing. I'm not getting up on there. And that's okay, because I know that they love you, and I want to relate to you on their behalf that they love you dearly and they appreciate you, but they just can't find the courage to actually get up here and express it. But for those that are here, they're going to say a few words to you personally and let you know just how much you mean to them and how much they appreciate everything that you've been doing for them in your life. Who's first? Oh, wow, the bold one.
My mom is the best mom ever. She is the example of sacrifice. Because raising 4 kids alone is not easy, and it wasn't easy on all of us, but She taught us to be a pack. We call ourselves the Wolf Pack. And the four of us, she's always said, you know, you guys are all you have. You know, you gotta be tight. And we tight. We always hold each other accountable. And she has taught us to show strength and courage, to never give up. And she's always made sure that each of us were each other's examples. And she's always put us first. And she's the reason why I feel like I'm gonna be the best mom and best wife. And without her, we wouldn't be where we are today. So I love you and thank you for all you do.
Mine isn't as good as hers, but I want to thank my mom as well for always pushing me to do good, pushing me to be successful, to get a degree, to get an education. I'm graduating on Monday, and I'm grateful. They couldn't have done it without my mom, without pushing me in school, telling me to never give up, because school is not easy, trust me, especially college. But she did push me to get in, to never give up, and she always pushed Jesus in me and Jesus in my heart, told me to always keep God in my heart, and I also couldn't do it without God. So thank you for teaching me to push my education and push Jesus.
Carl asked me to speak this morning, and I honestly was like, what am I going to say? My vocabulary is not broad enough to describe my mother. She is the most hardworking hustler I've ever known. Along with my father, they are partners in crime, I'm telling you. Have you guys ever been asked, why do you love somebody? And Carl asked me, I was like, you know, my mom's loving, she's kind, she's caring, she's humble. But I could never, ever express how much I love my mom. And she has done so much for me. Without my parents, I would not be standing on this stage today. Without my parents. Me and my sister came from a broken home, and they literally just whooped us off our feet and just brought us into such a loving home. We went from nothing to having not only a Christian man, but a pastor as our father. Okay? So that's just a lot, and I love you guys. I love you, Mommy, with all my heart. You mean the world to me, and I don't know what I would do without you.
Well, I love my mom. She does everything for me. She works really hard to give me, you know, the things that I want, but she teaches me great values in life that, you know, things are not handed down to you. You have to work really hard for them. And, you know, as a parent, I just love her so much. I love you, Mom. Thank you for everything that you have done for me. And just for being there for our family and just helping us throughout the way and praying with us every day. And I just love you for that. Thank you.
Well, I'm pretty sure everybody knows who my mom is right there in the front. Well, my mom, she's been there for us for everything, and she sacrificed so much so that we can do certain things. She always pushes us to make sure we succeed in school and that we can become a good woman and that we can do certain things in the household. I like to thank my mom for everything she's done for me. I give her so much trouble, but I hope she knows that I love her so much.
Well, my mom is great. She's just really awesome. She taught me so much from when I was like this big to now. And she no matter what I do and no matter how messed up I do things or how I perform, then she's always there. She's always there to pat me on the back. She's there to say things are okay. Even when I don't go to her, she's still there. Even when I maybe don't want to be around, she's just there. She's ready to give me a hug and be nice. And she's taught me way more than I actually react and do. And I appreciate her a lot, and I'm glad to be her daughter and to be born because of her and my father.
best mom ever. And I don't know really what to say. She's just the best mom.
Thank you, Mom, for being our #1 fan. You've done so much for us. Like, you get in trouble and you're still by our side. And I just want to thank you a lot. And yeah, thank you. Hi, Mom. I'm your oldest. I hope you remember that. I'm not gonna cry like Sean, but I love you so much, and I thank you for being our superhero. You do everything for us every day, although we make you mad all the time. But you still love us, and I appreciate that. You care for us, and you do things for us that we didn't even think about doing. Like, say we forget to do like the dishes or something, and then you get on our case, but we never forget to do it because you have put your foot down, and you taught us different things that we should never forget, and I'm so thankful that you're my mom. Love you.
Mama. Nah, but first and foremost, any lady that could push out 3 big-headed kids deserves a day, you know. Nah, but gosh, my mom's been there for everything. She was, ever since I can remember, she was there at my basketball game screaming louder than any mom in the stands, and you know, it's crazy. And you know, no matter how mad she gets, no matter how, you know, the worst things I could do, I could come home anytime, you know, like recently she was just yelling at me about my curfew, and I'm like, yo, you know, and she was yelling, and then, you know, out of nowhere she's like, oh, Jay, so you want to do your prom thing now, or you want to do it later? And I'm just like, you know, that's a good mom, you know, and I'm thankful for all the moms here right now. Thanks a lot. I appreciate you guys. No, but all the moms that are here, you guys deserve all the thanks, because without you, we wouldn't. None of the kids that you see here would be standing in front of you guys saying how much we love you guys. So I just want to say I love all the moms here. Doesn't matter if I know you or not, but I know you all are good moms, and you know, I just want to say what's up to my mom right there, the little pretty thing sitting right there. You know, it's just, yeah. So. There you go.
Big G. Listen, I just want to clear this up now. I know, you know, I make fun of you. I say your head is big and all this stuff. But in reality, it's not that big. Lucky for you. But you're actually perfect in every way. And I could never love anyone, any other woman, anybody as much as I love you. You know, you always encourage me to keep going, keep pushing, and you know for sure I will always keep pushing. And it'll always be for you and for this man right here. And speaking of which, the decision you made on marrying this one right here, that was probably the second biggest thing in your life after me. So, you know, but I just want to, you know, thank you for raising me, because I know for sure. I look back and I know it wasn't easy, so thank you. I thank you for everything, and I love you so much. You mean the world to me. I love you. Thank you.
Hi, Mom. You look very pretty, just like you do every day. Grace said she has the best mom in the world, but I think you take that. I'm sure there's a lot of great moms in here. So just happy Mother's Day to everyone.
So, Mom, I love you so much. You are the greatest gift that God has given me, and a great blessing to our family. Raising us two in a single home, you do by far the greatest job ever. You are the definition of the world's greatest mom. You love us even when we fight every day, me and Adrian. You raised us to be good men, how to treat a lady, because Dad never taught us that, and you are the only one that taught us how to treat anybody great. I love you so much. You are my queen. Love you.
Well, my mom's not here, but I just want to acknowledge her. She's an incredibly strong woman. I feel very, very lucky to have her as my mother. The words can't come to my mind. It's just, there's nothing that I could ever. What she's done for me is I can never repay that back. So I just want to, again, acknowledge her. I love her. I wish she was here, but she's not here. And she's the greatest love of my life, the #1 woman in my life. And she's the real MVP.
So I don't really like public speaking or anything, but Mom, you have been there since day one. My mom has sacrificed more than anything for my brother and I, even though I know he's not here. From ensuring from the time we were little that every single year almost she went back to Bermuda to ensure that me and my brother were taken care of. And, even marrying my dad, Henville Rogers, who is amazing. He's not my brother and I he's not our birth father, but she ensured that she married a man of God who would put not only my mother first, but my brother and I first. And I don't even have words to express my gratitude for such a loving, godly mother. Even the reason why I'm able to stand here now is because of her. I remember when I was a freshman in university and I was studying nursing, and for the first time in my life I actually had to, work for something, and I called her one evening and I was so upset and crying and threatening to drop out of nursing school. And she yelled at me at the phone. She's like, "You started this and you're gonna finish it." And she's always made me ensure that I finish everything that I start. And I really am grateful to have you as a mom. You are amazing. I love you.
I just want to say I love you, Mom, and you've been an amazing inspiration to me and my brothers. I don't know how you've done it with 3 sons and a father. That tops it all off. You've been there through thick and thin. You've always had me lift my head up, always encouraged me to do better, and showed me how to be a gentleman. I'm grateful to you for everything from the time I was small. I remember just the cream of wheat, you put the extra lumps in there for me like I asked. And even today, every morning I could wake up and you're going to send me a scripture or send me some devotion to look after, to continue to keep my eyes on God. So I thank you for your inspiration, Mom, and I thank you for everything you've done for us.
I'd like to say that I'm very happy to be here today because I have the most beautiful lady, she's my mother, here too. Thank you.
I'm visiting from Orlando. My mother, for Mother's Day, just came down to be with her and hang out with her. I don't see her as often. But just representing one of 3 kids that she had, and she's like every other mother here, inspirational, loving, kind, and always puts her kids before herself, even when we tell her she should think about herself and things that even we're all full grown adults now. She's always, what do you need? Can I do that for you? Oh no, I got you, baby. I got you, no worries. And that's just what a mother is. No matter how old you are, no matter how grown you think you are, she's always there for you, and I love her so much for that. Thank you, Mama.
Well, happy Mother's Day. My mother had a rough life. Here we are, and I lost contact with her for about 10 years. Thank God she's back in my life. I grew up thinking I was like my father. I always wanted to be like my dad. And, I realized I'm just like her. And she's a saint. All mothers, I firmly believe that if it wasn't for moms, there would be no men. like the ones we have here, or the ones we're trying to raise. All these kids that we have here is we know we do our best, but it's the moms that keep them in the right track, you know. And I thank you all for that. This is a very special place, very special day. Mommy, I love you so much. She's going back to Chile in about 3 weeks. She's been with me for 6 months. And it's been a blessing. And God, happy Mother's Day, everybody. God bless.
Is everyone done? Okay. They say that's for last. Hi, Mommy. How are you? Happy Mother's Day. I love you with all my heart. You're my spiritual leader, because I'm always able to talk to you. Even when I'm not able to talk to anybody else, I'm always able to run to you to talk to you. I love you with all my heart, and thank you for keeping up with us 3 boys, even though we fight a lot, with love. And we didn't break the house at least, but thank you, and I love you.
I've got one more, very important one. Do you guys remember Mary, Jesus' mom? Remember that? When God thought about doing something like saving humanity, saving the whole world, he thought of her, and she was a very special lady, in my opinion, because this is who God actually used to bring about the salvation of humanity. That's a big deal. It's a big deal. But when I look out here and I see this beautiful church, I see this beautiful church with all these beautiful faces and this beautiful family that we have, I can only think that God was thinking about Mama Labrador to bring about this church. So I want to invite our pastor up to do his sermon, but prior to that, to say a few words to his mom, because it's because of her that we are all here. She's actually the mom of origin, because it was through the inspiration of this man, his faith, that God brought about this church. God put it in his heart to be able to press forward and launch this church. But who brought him about? Who did God use to bring this man about? So technically speaking, God used Mama Labrador to bring about this entire church. Can you believe that? Can you imagine God in his mind thinking about this church, and he thought about this man and the person that he was going to bring him through? That's a beautiful thing, and I think she's a very special woman in light of that, and I just want to allow the pastor to say a few words to his mom. And since we have this bouquet left, I will bring her this bouquet. She deserves probably all of our roses, right? Here you are, Pastor.
As I was watching all of you come up, this whole week I had been worried about the sermon today, and what a beautiful sermon all of our children have been able to have. My mom, during this whole week I've been praying that today God would help me to be strong, because you didn't come here to watch me cry. You came here to listen to the Word of God and praise God. But my mom, she's an amazing woman. My mom and dad in Cuba, they had a store. And they would take the store and they would bring supplies to it. And this was a store out in the country. So all the people who lived in the mountains would come and they would buy food at this store. But what happens is that people who live in the mountains and people who are farmers only have money on a certain part of the year. They don't have money all year. So they would come and buy everything, and my mom and dad, they would, give them credit. So they would bring up all the crops. Then they would come and pay my mom and dad, and then they would, buy supplies again for the next year. people. What happens is that during the time that the store was closed, and they still had not collected the money, they would actually do charcoal. And to do the charcoal, they had to go out, and find wood. And my mother and father would go out to find wood and gather wood and make these ovens of wood, where they would then light them, and they would just burn for days and nights to turn that wood into charcoal. And my mother would grab an axe, and she would tell me how she would grab an axe and she would take out of the ground tree trunks with an axe, a woman. And she would go out and take the back of that axe and just swing it around and hit that tree trunk to pull it out of the ground. And maybe some of you worried a little bit about a little bit house cleaning, And they would have to go out and pull out those tree trunks out of the ground. My father was a businessman. And he was always out buying and purchasing and wheeling and dealing. And my mother would stay at home and she would take care of the store. She would run the store. And she would take care of us as children. And she would run the store. She was just a complete woman in everything. One of the things that my mother would do, have you ever been part of a conversation at home? Do you remember when you were a kid and maybe they were going to talk about something and they would tell you to leave the room? Were you ever in that situation? Okay. My mother never allowed that. She wanted us to be involved in every single conversation because that was life and that was reality. And she would say, if you can't say anything, if we're not going to talk about anything in this home that my children cannot hear, then don't say it. But she allowed us from childhood to know everything about life, good and bad. And this allowed us at an early age to have so much wisdom that nothing surprised us. We knew. Since very little, my mom, you guys talk about birds and the bees and all that. My mom here's this country woman out there in the country. She told me everything I needed to know as a boy. It wasn't my father, it was her. She sat down and she told me everything. And she allowed me to be, my sisters, to be part of every conversation in the home. Every conversation that had to do with maybe problems going on in the family, in the business. That's the way my parents grew us up. They made sure that we were aware of everything that we would have to one day participate in the world. And her example as a spiritual woman is one of the things about, I mentioned some stuff about my dad, is my mom and dad, one of the words that I can probably describe them is, I'm going slow because my sister's back there translating to her, is consistency. I can never tell you that my parents had a high spiritual life and then a low spiritual life and then a high. that there were good times and that there were bad times. I can't tell you that. It was always the same. Always the same. Consistency. And, you know, my mother always pushed us, all of us children, to just, you know, to move forward, to you know, to be the best, to represent our family wherever we went. So I really consider myself privileged. I consider myself, I just don't have words to thank God for giving me the opportunity to be part of, to become the son of Julio and Maria Labrador. To me, they are so special that I feel that God chose me to be there. And I consider it a privilege. And I thank God every day for making me the son of Julio and Maria Labrador. And today, I challenge you to become the mother and the father that your children feel privileged to be your son or daughter, instead of wishing that they were somebody else's son or daughter. And that's my challenge to you here. Mama, te agradezco por ser mi madre. Le agradezco a Dios que te escogió a ti para ser mi madre. Te amo, te quiero y te seguiré cuidando aquí hasta el día que el Señor diga. Eres una madre especial, eres una madre única y te amo con todo mi corazón. And I also want to recognize my sister, who is a mother. She has brought up two beautiful, a young man and a young woman that serve God completely. And God has given her the wisdom to bring up incredible, my niece and nephew that are also serve God. So thank you very much. Do we have the roses? We already gave them to her. All right, good, good. Okay. Anyway,